The base of my Overlander build was a 2021 Nissan Titan Pro4X, one owner vehicle, which is fantastic, and that previous owner actually installed a 3-inch rough country lift, including the upper control arm, so they were ahead of the game for me there. It also had the amber grille lights already installed from the factory, and it had the satin black vinyl patch on the hood, which was a fantastic combination. It was a great looking truck right off the rip. I slapped on a fresh set of Nitto Ridge grapplers. They were 33 1250 by 18s. It's a decent tire, but after 25,000 miles or so, it starts to wear a little bit unevenly and gets a little bit noisy on the road. But overall, a really solid tire. Shortly after I got the truck, I got the itch to get a new pair of wheels, so I reached out to my friends at Motorsports LA, and they helped me get a hookup on some Black Diamond off-road wheels, which were an excellent addition to this truck. The black and white combination was perfect. Now, being an Overlander project, I obviously knew we were going to need some lighting on this thing, so I started with some pod lights or ditch lights. I went with the Rough Country 2-inch pods. They were a white and amber combination, and I paired those with a set of CJD Racing brackets, specially made for the Nissan Titan. Perfect fit, relatively easy installation. Make sure you guys check out the channel. I'll put a link in the description below if I can remember to. While I was there working on the lighting, I installed some rock lights also, not so I could run down the highway like those squatted boys, but so I could have a little bit of visibility in the very near perimeter of the truck when we were in those off-road situations. We'll test these at night, but bam. Pretty bright, pretty bright. Speaking of ground visibility and ground clearance, I went ahead and installed some Z1 off-road skid plates. Shout out to Z1 Off-Road and Z1 Motorsports in general for being a longtime supporter of the channel, by the way. But those skid plates gave me a little bit of extra comfort and a little extra protection around the oil pan and the transfer case, which is very important if you start getting into some of that rugged terrain. Now, speaking of Z1 Off-Road, the only performance upgrade that I made to this Titan was the installation of their cold air intake. I was happy again to be partnered with Z1 Off-Road for this project, and I was happy to install the cold air intake. It did sound cool. It looks good under the hood. I'm not sure if it gave me any additional horsepower. I did feel a little bit of an additional throttle response by the seat of my pants, so I will say that, and I think I might have saw a slight uptick in fuel mileage too. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure you check out that installation video if I can remember. I'll put a link in the description below. The Nissan Titan 5.6-liter V8 is an excellent platform. It has established a reputation for durability and longevity like a lot of other Nissan engine platforms. It's torquey. It's pretty powerful. It sounds excellent, especially with an aftermarket exhaust system, but they are known to produce a ton of blow-by. So to get ahead of all that gunk and grime building up on the valves, I installed an oil catch can. Needle nose pliers and a 10mm socket. It really is just cheap insurance to prevent that buildup, the carbon buildup, the grimy buildup on those valves, which is going to start hindering throttle response, engine performance, and fuel mileage. So you might as well just get ahead of it, install that catch can before you get too many miles built up on the truck, and you'll be glad that you did. The most important addition that I made to this Overlander project was the one that I had to wait for the longest. I think six to 8 weeks is what I waited for, on the ARE Overlander bed cap. Ooh, it's gonna be sick. I love this thing. It looked fantastic. Fit was pretty great, and it really opened up a lot of doors in terms of what we were able to do with this truck going forward. Really looking forward to getting some good use out of this rig now. While I was waiting for this bed cap to be built by ARE, I went ahead and built a dog-friendly storage platform with maybe $40 worth of lumber. Filler pieces, equal in depth. I got some of that interlocking yoga mat material, spread it out along the top end of the platform, and it really turned out fantastic. It ended up being a great little storage platform, a really comfortable surface for the dogs to walk around on or rest on while they were waiting in the back end of the truck for long periods of time. And ultimately, it became a pretty decent area to lay on and rest on, or overnight camp in if we were using the truck for one of those overland sort of adventures where we had to get out of the elements and take a little snooze. The cool thing about ARE bed caps, and probably the other manufacturers as well, is that you can pick and choose some of the accessories that you want installed while they're building this bed cap, and I chose to have it outfitted with the roof rails, assuming that I was going to have a roof rack installed down the road. It took me a long time, but I was finally able to find on Facebook Marketplace, praise the Lord for Facebook Marketplace, I was able to find an Airy Ascend roof basket that was sort of made for this bed cap, but is unavailable through their website. Somebody was selling it in Charlotte. I made the 1.5 to 2 hour drive up there, grabbed it for $350, and I'm glad I did. It was a fantastic addition, gave us a lot of additional storage space, especially when you're traveling with the dogs in the back end of the truck. That additional storage space up top leaves a lot of floor space available for your furry friends. But it also furnished a bunch of different places to mount lights. And that's one thing I really wanted to do with this build, is really outfit it with a bunch of light bars, a bunch of pod lights. I wanted to see this thing from space. I just went with the single row light bar because I did want to keep it as sleek and as low profile as possible. I think this will be perfect. I bought a couple of additional brackets as well. Okay. And once I got all those lights installed finally on the roof basket, it was a 50-inch Rough Country light bar up front. It was a 20-inch Rough Country light bar in the rear, and then I had the 2-inch Rough Country pods on the sides of the basket. I ran all the wiring down underneath the vehicle, back up, and wired everything into the panel under the hood mounted to the fuse box. Then all the lights were controlled by the 8-switch panel mounted in the center console in the truck. And rock lights are right here. We got some other plans for the other lights in the future, but right now, let's see the cubes. Oh, see the ambers. Good, good, good. I also added a couple of things here or there, just small touches for aesthetic purposes and convenience, like the 13-inch shorty antenna, getting rid of that big wire whip antenna that the Titan comes with. And I actually installed some flat black Titan emblems on the doors because this is a big truck and they were just big white panels, and I thought that it needed a little something to break it up. So the flat black Titan emblems were a perfect addition in my opinion. And I actually had an old Jeep Molly panel back from my Cherokee and Wrangler days that I mounted in the back end of the truck just to hang a couple of bags off that held some first aid supplies, for example, some hand warmers and feet warmers, some tools like sockets and wrenches and screwdrivers and things of that nature, and just some other odds and ends, fire starters, matches, and things like that that could be useful if you're just sitting in the back, a flashlight, things that could be useful if you're just sitting in the back end of the truck at night and you need, you know, something that's within reach. Although some of the items on this list were a little bit pricey, I think overall it ended up being a pretty budget-friendly overland build. It was super capable with the lift and the tire combination, really convenient with the bed cap and the storage platform. It became super versatile and night capable with all of that additional lighting right at my fingertips. Obviously it's plenty torquey and powerful enough to pull our 26-foot camper, but keeping it slender and sleek allowed it to remain practical enough to drive daily to work. Obviously the Nissan Titan Pro4X is a hell of a truck in its own right. I would argue it's one of the last real trucks remaining on the road, and it's a shame that they ended production after 2024, and I hope they bring the Nissan Titan back, not in EV form. I hope they keep that big growly 5.6 liter V8 in it and just sort of refine it here and there. But after adding a few key components, a couple of really essential accessories, in particular that ARE Overlander bed cap, I fell in love with the truck all over again. It really did open up a lot of doors in terms of what we were able to do with the thing, especially having a couple of dogs that we literally bring with us everywhere. So it was a hell of a build. I really, really enjoyed the truck, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video as well. I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate all the continued support up to this point. There's more stuff coming for the channel, so I hope you guys will stick around. A bunch of different content. If you're into just a broad range of automotive related content, this might be the one for you. So stick around, subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next one.